Hey everyone, nice of you to join me for this long awaited video. I know it's been a while. I have had quite the adventure the last several weeks. But before I get into that, check out my view. Tell me that's not gorgeous. Look at that. Look at that. This is my home in Fort Collins, just down the street from my house. And I decided to come out on an adventure. But anyway, I haven't, I need to apologize. I haven't made a video in a while. But to be honest with you, it's been on my mind for a while. The reality is we've just been so incredibly busy. And I mean, it's an excuse, don't get me wrong. Because I've had, 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there to do it, but it's just, I don't know. It's been a lot. I've had a lot of things go on, and just like, all of us, we all have things that happen in our lives, and we tend to put things that are important on hold to make room for other things that come into our lives that are equally as important. Family emergencies, finances. I mean, it's been a dark cloud. And, so I'll tell you guys something. I've had quite the adventure, like I said, between family members passing and emergency trips back to Tucson and just unexpected expenses. And it's just been a really dark cloud that I've really done my best to try to shake off and remain positive and just try to keep an open mind to change and try to find the message and the lesson in everything that's been happening. The other day, I fell down the stairs at home, and mind you, my house isn't very big. When you walk in the door, there's about, 4 or 5 steps to go upstairs or 4 or 5 steps to go downstairs. And we got home late in the evening, and I was walking down the stairs, and I just didn't get my foot all the way down because I wasn't paying attention, and I fell forward and fell down the stairs. And my whole body felt like it was on fire. And I laid on the floor for a minute, and although I can laugh about it now, in the moment I felt so defeated by everything that had been happening. And it just felt like cruelty in that point. I always keep an open mind, and I'm always looking at, like I said before, the message and everything, and the lesson and everything. So, I'm thinking, God is trying to steer me away from things that I'm prioritizing, and he's trying to steer me back to what he wants me to prioritize in my life. And in that moment, when I fell down the stairs, even though it was 100% my fault for not paying attention, I blamed him. And not necessarily, I blamed him not so much because I believe that he was the one behind me to push me down, but more so that he didn't prevent it from happening, right? And it sounds silly, but that's just how I felt in the moment. And like I said, with everything that has happened recently, it has just felt like all the progress that my family and I have struggled to make, it felt like in an instance, it was all gone. And don't get me wrong, like, I'm grateful. I'm not homeless, I have nice things. I have a beautiful, loving and supportive family. I'm there's a lot of things to be grateful for, and I am. It was just felt like a series of unfortunate events, and although I was looking for a positive outlook, I was trying to have a positive outlook. It just felt cruel. It felt very cruel. Like, okay, I understand. What now? How do I get out of this funk? And to this day, I'm still struggling with it a little bit, and I'm hoping that I find, the sunlight at the end of the dark tunnel. And I'm certain it will come, but it's just really, that's my excuse on just why I haven't. And one of the great positive things about this year has been that we've had so many friends and family come and visit us out here in Fort Collins and experience our new life and share memories with us. And I'm extremely grateful for that, because moving out here it was hard at first, primarily because we didn't know anybody out here, and we kind of had to rebuild, and we're rebuilding our own social life out here, because to be honest with you, we don't have one. My wife and I, we don't have any, like, a large group of friends and family. I mean, I have a family, I have a family / friend out here, a family member, but that person lives their own life too. It's not just revolving around us specifically. And it's not that we had that in Tucson, but it was just more prevalent. But through the weeks, I've gone back and forth debating on the topic of today's video, and like most of my videos, I'm kind of all over the place, and I kind of just go off the top of my head and work with it. Obviously, as you know, these are 100% unedited, raw footage in the wild. As you can see, forgive me if I'm out of breath. I am morbidly obese, and I am pacing, and I pace when I speak, I talk. So, I'll give it a whirl, but I have been debating today's topic. I've been going back and forth, and I feel like God has really pushed me towards one specific topic. And I started to really pray on it and really think, how can I develop this topic enough to come across not sounding too stupid, right? Because that's not what I want. But I think sometimes that's necessary, because there may be some of you out there that might be able to clarify or open my mind up to your idea of this topic. So I encourage anybody who has an opinion or anything they want to share, they're more than welcome to comment on this video, or shoot me an email or text, or give me a call even, and we can discuss it more in detail. But the topic for today is extremism, and I mean that in what it is, extremism in anything, whether that's hobbies, political views, religious views, or religious beliefs, social ideas or events. I mean, in the sense of, what it is, extremism. Believing or doing something to an extreme, to the extreme that people question your sanity almost, right? Because people don't identify with your vision and your view on what it is that you believe or feel is right. And there are some people that do, but many don't, and it causes problems. And socially, culturally, in this life right now, I feel like that's kind of where we are. as a society, I feel like we have all looked for alternative viewpoints to learn what is true and what is false. And there's so much conflicting information that it makes it nearly impossible for us to determine what is real, what is the truth, and how are we supposed to live? Why are we here? I mean, these questions go on and on and on, right? It's something that I think as humans we've struggled with, since the beginning of time. But I also think that collectively we can find common ground in this topic. And what I mean by that is really sitting down and understanding what our viewpoints are. And as opposed to getting angry about it, we can really encourage each other to grow in the different perspectives. Now, obviously, most of our motivations come from our religious backgrounds, and then it kind of spreads from there. And I think that our version of having a relationship with God is different for everyone. And we are taught to push people into believing what we believe. And I think that's where we're wrong. I don't believe that having a relationship with God is supposed to be stressful. I don't think that having a relationship with God is supposed to separate us. I feel like, check this out, sorry. Check that out. There's a horse. I feel like we are supposed to have a loving and respectful relationship with our Creator, and in order to do that, we really have to get back to basics on the topic. And extremism plays a big role in that. There are people that believe only one thing, and they have no room to open their mind up to the idea of something different. And this really stems from the reality that most of, if not all of our religions have been manipulated in the past. Now, you can look at it, no, Chris, you're lying, you're trying to push something else onto us. But no, the reality is anything that man has managed, man has manipulated. And I think that there are various reasons for why that has happened. Power, greed, control, social or economic advancement. I mean, you name it, there's a list that can probably go on and on of reasons why someone or a group of people would do that. Humans are the only species on Earth that can think critically and probably are the only ones that acknowledge an existence of a creator. And that's because we need to believe that and know that that exists so that we don't fear the outcomes of our life. And the grim reality is that one day we will all pass on and we will all cease to exist on this planet. And whether we live here or in another realm, spiritually or physically, the reality is we need to feel the presence of existence beyond this world. And that fear forces us to really push a belief system that will, give me 1 second, that will force us to place upon others, because in our social groups, the more people that share the same ideas as we do make us feel a little bit more comfortable. And so our views and our expectations of life and creation, religion, politics, everything, we often feel the need to share it in such an extreme way that we push away those who do legitimately care about us, but because they don't meet our social, political, or religious requirements, we push them away. You know, which is really weird, because the really big push for employment is diversity and really in inclusion in, you know, allowing people to share the same spaces as we are. And the unique part is, like, through history, that has always created some sort of turmoil, right? People don't like to share their space with people that don't share certain commonalities with them. And it creates issues. And I'm not saying that diversity and inclusion is wrong. I think that the way that we're going about it as a society is wrong. It is nearly impossible to sit down at a table with people that have different views and gain something from it, because people close their mind to the idea that they may change their perception of their reality because somebody else's viewpoints may be more accurate than theirs. And that scares people. And fear drives and motivates that. And for me, I feel like I've always connected with people regardless of who they are or where they come from. Because I'm always open to discuss or debate a topic. And not in an aggressive way. You know, it's really just like, I could be 100% wrong about what I believe. I could. I mean, I acknowledge that could be a fact. Others need to acknowledge that too. It's possible that what you think is correct is incorrect. So if we can go into discussions collectively and iron out those details, then I think overall as a society, we can kind of get back to basics as far as humanitarianism goes, right? I think our instincts remind us that... Sorry, hold on. Let me switch this around. There we go. Our instincts remind us that we are all human. You know, if you see a person being hurt, your instinct is to feel sympathy and have remorse, and or depending on your fight or flight, you may run towards helping those people, or you may run away because you fear being hurt. But at some point through that process, you will feel sympathy for that person. Nobody wants other people to be physically hurt, assaulted, emotionally, physically, spiritually, even if they are different from what we believe or what we look like or whatnot. We as humans sympathize with that, just like we would, an animal being tortured or injured, or, we're human and we have emotions and we have intuitions. These are all something that as humans we all share regardless of where we come from, regardless of how we're raised, regardless of what we believe or what we were told to believe. Information gets passed on from generation to generation, and sometimes it changes from generation to generation. And that information, though was intentionally shared to be true, has now been diluted through the years and years of sharing. And so how do we get back to what the facts are, what the realities are? The biggest part is, I understand that having a creator forces people to comply with how do I say this, it forces us to be in control, because we understand that without one, chaos would come upon all of us. What then is the purpose of living if we don't necessarily have a life after this? If we cease to exist, then what motivation do I have to be civil or humane, or and like I said, it contradicts our intuitions as human species. But I don't necessarily believe that a creator doesn't exist. Obviously we exist, therefore a creator must exist. So for me, it's not even a thought or a reality. We exist, therefore someone or something created us, and we have evolved over time through the changes in social and I don't know, political and religious motivations, and that has allowed us to separate but grow and evolve over time. And what that has allowed for us to do is to now get to a point in our society where we're so populated that we have no choice but to face uncomfort or discomfort in different environments that we're not used to. We're seeing more people exchange geo locations more often. You have Mexicans moving to, I don't know, Japan. You have Japanese people moving to Ireland, and Irish people moving to Africa, and African people moving to Guatemala, you name it. I mean, we have gotten to the point where we all yearn for more adventure, and it's forcing us to relocate in order to grow. And that's the thing, is how are we going to know whether or not we're going to thrive if we don't experience that? For example, my family and I moving from Arizona to here, it's terrifying. And though in a map scale it's not that far, although it takes 14 hours to drive, the reality is had I not left the environment that I was in, I would never get to experience all of this as a home. But not just that, the people, the culture, the positive atmospheres that are available when people embrace each other as humans, as opposed to extreme political views or religious views or whatnot, and I don't think that God intended us to be divided. Man and those who seek power and control use these methods as tools to keep us from being able to overcome their obstacles that they put in place for us. And some people are okay with living, or, well, some people are just okay with existing and not living. So I'll conclude there. I'll have a part 2 to this. Just wanted to kind of plant the seed on the topic, but I really hope that everyone's doing well, and everyone is healthy, and I love y'all. I love everybody. I hope that we can all continue to connect, whether it's in person or through this channel, and keep growing and learning and adapting. Uncomfort creates new obstacles, and those new obstacles need to be overcome. So God bless you all. Take care. God loves you. I do too. Bye.